I think oftentimes the public takes for granted that they have clean water to drink and they have enough of clean water to drink. But that's something that people are working very hard to ensure. We want people to have confidence that that water will be healthy. They don't need to buy bottled water. My name is Tamar Losleben. I'm an environmental engineer with Malcolm Pirnie, and I work in New York City. Environmental engineering is really where public health and environmental needs meet. Environmental engineers work with cleaning up contamination or preventing contamination of the air, soil, and water. We study where there could be an impact on the environment or people's health, and then we create solutions to try and mitigate that impact.
Tamar's area of specialty is water engineering, specifically water treatment.
So, I'm here at a friend's house, and I'm here to test lead in the water, because often in these old houses that were built maybe 50 or 100 years ago, there's concern about lead in the water. I'm collecting samples to make sure that the water is safe. At Malcolm Pirnie, I work on a lot of different types of projects, anything from determining water storage needs or disinfection needs, upgrading drinking water facilities or wastewater facilities, doing overall master planning. I also look at sustainability of projects, and that's something that we're very much focused on now. I'm working on a project in Nassau County in Long Island at the Bay Park sewage treatment plant.
We're working with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to meet the stricter regulations that they have put on us to remove the proper amount of chlorine and dissolved oxygen from the wastewater leaving the plant and entering the water bodies. So Tamar is working with us here to monitor the levels of the dissolved oxygen and the chlorine.
Working for an engineering firm provides Tamar with an opportunity to work on a variety of projects and to spend lots of time outdoors, which she loves.
I like to start my day outside, whether it's running or surfing in the morning or biking to work. My working environment is a mix. I sometimes work in the office. Other days I'll head to the field. I quite like my hours that I work. It's usually a 40-hour week. We're here at Meadow Lake in New York City, and I've taken a sample of the lake water to test for turbidity. I basically want to understand if there are a lot of particles that are suspended in the water. It's about 30, which is higher than what we would want for drinking water, but for swimming and for recreational purposes, that's fine. We're in Jackson Heights. This is the little Indy of New York City. I love it here. There's so many cultures, so many colors, and it reminds me of my childhood. I grew up in India, Kenya, and Egypt. There's just so much here.
Living in large international cities, Tamar has seen firsthand how important it is to balance urban growth with preserving and protecting the environment. She knew early on that this is how she wanted to make a difference in the world. She devotes much of her time to organizations like Engineers Without Borders.
People can learn how to make it
Right.
and reconstruct it, and if it breaks, it costs about $10 or $15 to
It's
make.
easily serviceable also.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very good solution. That's a very good innovative solution.
In El Salvador, I worked with the community that built one of them, and they're still using it.
As a project lead for Engineers Without Borders, Tamar has worked hands-on with team members and local communities in constructing water storage, distribution, and purification systems for small villages in developing countries. Tamar is passionate about sharing her experiences with like-minded colleagues.
About half of the population in developing countries lacked access to proper sanitation, or even just improved sanitation. They don't have a latrine to use. And 1 out of 6 people don't have access to an improved water source. So they're drinking water that could potentially make them sick, or they could even die from. I know as an environmental engineer that I impact people's lives, and hopefully they're healthier because of that. When I work abroad, I see the impact directly. It changes people's lives. They now have a water tap, or they're not getting sick. And we can talk about it. I can see it. I can see their joy and how thankful they are.
Like many water engineers, Tamar finds herself both working and playing in and around water.
We're at Rockaway Beach in New York, and we're heading out to the ocean to see if there's some little waves to catch this morning. When I'm surfing, I see a lot of marine life. I've seen porpoises, and I see whales. Pretty big whale, I don't know what kind, but it jumped in the air twice and just went down. I also love to bike around the city into Central Park, along the rivers, and I sometimes bring my paints. I grew up really intrigued by nature and found that I just had this desire to try and capture some of the beauty. Environmental engineers are very much optimists, and I think sometimes we're confused for idealists, but it's just that we see an issue or something that could be mitigated, something that's damaging the environment or people, and we have ideas of how to solve that problem. And it may not be a perfect solution at first, but we return to the problems and we keep on working on them. And I think that's the hope that we have, is that things can be better.
Environmental engineers like Tamar are experts in pollution control, industrial hygiene, hazardous waste management, water supply, radiation protection, wastewater management, public health, and land management. They may work in engineering firms, universities, private research firms, corporations, testing laboratories, and government agencies of all types.
I would say someone who wants to be an environmental engineer should have an interest in people and in science and be strong in math. We use a lot of chemistry. We do calculations on dosages, on flow rates. But I think someone who has a strong interest in science and people would be a good environmental engineer.
Environmental engineers typically hold a Bachelor of Science degree in civil, mechanical, or environmental engineering. Most continue on to get a master's degree in environmental engineering.
Engineering is a field that has historically been dominated by men, but I do see that changing in my generation, and I'm encouraged by it. My supervisor's a wonderful woman engineer, a great leader. My dream is to work abroad on international water projects to help people get better access to clean, safe water. Water is a need that is global, and I think that need will be there, and so will environmental engineers.